Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
It's Thursday, October 10th, 2019. Welcome to your Daily Detroit, where we share what to know and where to go in Metro Detroit. I'm Sven Gustafson.
And I'm Jer Stays. We're going to tell you about free pizza and buy one, get one free burgers. We'll also update you on a mystery demolition of a house connected to a state lawmaker, the Piet Oudolf Garden on Belle Isle, and Detroit City FC's biggest game of the season.
Let's just do it, shall we?
On a previous episode of the podcast, we told you about a mysterious house demolition on Minnock Street in Detroit. Owned by State Representative Sherry Gay Danyogo, the home was being rehabilitated to eventually give to a needy family. However, when a crew from Motor City Bladebusters showed up to evaluate the house, they found it, to their surprise, completely gone. After 11 days of investigation and clues, Detroit Police Lieutenant Rebecca McKay shared what they found at a press conference.
Our investigation began with a mere hole in the ground. That's how we started. We eventually, from reviewing green light cameras and from canvassing the scene, gathered evidence that led us to Gibson Brothers Construction. We interviewed Mr. Gibson, and he has told us that he did demolish the home. He indicates to us that he was reached out to by Nate's Tree Service for an estimate to demolish the home. He gave an estimate of $7,000. This estimate was given on the 19th of September. Nate's Tree Service then reported to Superior Construction, who had reached out to Nate's Tree Service, the bid of $7,000. This bid, then Superior Construction put together their own bid in writing for $10,100. That bid was then passed along to New Start Construction. New Start Construction is a partner with Representative Gay Dagnogo's nonprofit, the Coalition to Integrate Technology and Education. This estimate was emailed to Representative Dagnogo on September 23rd. And Ms. Dagnogo replied in the email that she received this estimate.
It's a bit of a mess, as you heard. It also turns out that Representative Gay Danyogo did not share with the police that she asked for a bid to demolish the house. But to be clear, she gave no direction to take the home down. So the long and short of it is Detroit police allege that Gibson Brothers Trucking tore it down, and the owner of the company, Sherman Gibson, admitted tearing down the house. He's charged with malicious destruction of property worth more than $20,000 for the unwanted demolition.
The Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit says it's received a $5 million matching gift as part of its $15 million Future Fund capital campaign. MOCAD says the matching gift from the Taubman Foundation and Reyes Family Foundation will help the museum with its goal of expanding its reach into the community, broaden its audience, and expand youth programming. Specific plans call for a new campus environment featuring pedestrian walkways, event space, and environmentally sustainable landscape, plus improved facilities for youth and adult education. MOCAD will officially launch its Future Fund campaign on Friday, reports The Freep. The contribution honors Julie Reyes Taubman, a photographer and author who co-founded MOCAD. She died last year from cancer. Her name may eventually appear on a redeveloped facade. MOCAD opened 13 years ago inside a 22,000 square foot former car dealership that was designed by Albert Kahn. It's become well known over time for its exhibits and art and musical programming, as well as for its neon sign along Woodward that reads, "Everything is going to be all right." Jared, I love this news. This is great news. I love MOCAD, and I got to give a shout out to their children's programming as it is. My wife and I take our kids there a lot. We've been there to make like homemade puppets. They'll actually like sew it together and stuff them for you, and you can decorate them and stuff. And then I can't remember if it was this year or last year, but there was an exhibit where the big room, the big gallery room, was filled up by a guy who basically works in cardboard, and he had designed this giant was like a spiral, or it was like a maze, like a spiral maze that you try to get to the center of the room going on these long, basically corridors made by cardboard that's like waist high and perfect. I mean, my little kid, my youngest son just loved it. It was just great.
One of the things I love about MOCAD is the interactivity of it all. Every time I've gone there, it has been a fun time, and I don't have kids, but there's definitely been interactive exhibits for me.
For sure.
I'm not as good at them after a couple of gin and tonics, but they're definitely a lot of fun. I'd also like to point out that Julie Reyes Taubman, I actually had the chance to interview her a few years ago. Wonderful lady. Was a great experience. Hopefully I can dig up that videotape somewhere. I think it's like on mini DV or something. It's like from 8 years ago, but it was a great experience, and I was lucky to meet her, and I'm glad they're going to be doing this.
If you are among those who were wondering what was going on with the much anticipated Oudolf Garden project on Belle Isle, well, we've got an update for you. Project officials tell us that flooding and high water on the island park has delayed this fall's planned installation of the 2.5-acre garden by world-renowned landscape architect Piet Oudolf. Planting will now happen next spring, so long as the weather and water levels cooperate. We're told that earth should still move this fall. As a reminder, Oudolf is the landscape architect famous for his work on projects including New York City's High Line and the Lurie Gardens in Chicago. His garden on Belle Isle will go in front of the Nancy Brown Peace Carillon, which is near the conservatory. We had an interview with our friends Duncan and Maura Campbell of the Oudolf Garden Detroit project back in the spring. We'll include a link to that in the show notes on dailydetroit.com.
I know this project's still going to happen. It's got a lot of backing and it's well organized, but I'm still bummed that it's not kind of going as fast as I'd want it to. I'm truly excited for this one because this is one of the few projects where I feel like everyone can be a part of it.
Me too. I mean, the whole reason I asked, in addition to the fact that we had Duncan and Maura on, was I had signed up to volunteer and help, install some of the plantings basically. And so I was wondering if I maybe missed out on it or whatever. And so there you go.
Want free pizza? Here's your ticket. Sicily's Pizza, they serve a New York style pie, is giving away 100 12-inch pizzas on Tuesday, October 22nd.
You had me at want free pizza, but I definitely am interested with New York style pie. It's my favorite style, as you know.
Well, it turns out they have a new pizza called the Benchmark. Press materials say that it, quote, sets the standard for cheese pizzas. But Sven, I'm sure will be the judge of that when it comes out. Sicily's is down in southwest Detroit on Verner and uses non-GMO flour for their dough that they make each day. And so this is how this will work. Sicily's will open at 10 in the morning on Tuesday the 22nd, and the first 100 people in line will get a number. It'll be pickup only and limited to one pizza per person, but don't be greedy, you're getting free pizza.
You ever had Sicily's, Jer?
I actually used to order from Sicily's a lot when I lived in North Corktown, and I really appreciate that it's reasonably priced and it uses good ingredients. That's like a really hard nexus to find when it comes to food that you order from places, whether it's pizza or takeout or anything like that. And I'm going to have to see if they do the North End where I'm at now, because it would be good to get. If free pizza isn't enough, and if you're looking for buy one, get one burgers, here's a deal out in the suburbs. On Monday, October 14th, the BurgerIM chain is opening a new location out in Oak Park, and their Bingham Farms location will do a reopening celebration 1 week later on October 21st. To celebrate, both locations are offering buy one, get one classic hamburgers all day on those opening dates. On top of that, all week from the 14th to the 21st at certain BurgerIM locations in the region, you can enter to win a year of free burgers.
Lord.
The new Oak Park store will be on Greenfield, just south of 10 Mile. BurgerIM does customizable burgers, and the 4 locations in the promotion are Bingham Farms, Livonia, Royal Oak, and Oak Park. They're also certified halal.
After 77 years in business, the Allen Park Digital Cinema has abruptly closed. Located on Allen Road in downtown Allen Park, it had been run as a discount theater by the founder of MJR Cinemas, Mike Mihalich, but it was not an MJR facility. A report in the News Herald says that the theater had been losing money for the last 6 months, and the owner is in talks to turn the property over to the city at a below-market price.
So, Sven, apparently this was the last dollar movie theater downriver, and I know that there aren't many left in the region. For me, I always loved a good, cheap movie. I hope something good happens with this space because actually Allen Park has some potential as like a cute downtown. I know people might not think about that downriver, but I think Allen Park has potential. I'm also a big fan of Wyandotte.
Yeah, you've said that before.
And I will say I had an awesome breakfast in downtown Allen Park once. I suggest people check out the Glass Onion Griddle.
Detroit City FC remain unbeaten in Members Cup play and have maintained clean sheets in their last 3 games after picking up a pair of wins in the past week. City ground out a 1-0 win down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They followed it up with a 2-0 victory on Tuesday night at Keyworth over the Michigan Stars. And joining us to talk about all that is Fletcher Sharpe, our soccer correspondent. Fletcher, how's it going?
It's going all right. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you. All right. So City has a big match this weekend. They travel to the Big Apple. It's a rematch against the vaunted New York Cosmos, their B team. The two played ground out in a 1-1 draw earlier this season, just a few weeks ago at Keyworth. Fletcher, these two teams are sitting atop the Members Cup standings, clearing away the two favorites. And it's now basically down to one of these teams winning the Members Cup. Is this like a pivotal match? Like, is this weekend's match going to decide who brings home the trophy?
Essentially, yeah. They are really close in the standings, but New York Cosmos have, I think, 1 or 2 less games to play. Mm-hmm. So if they need the win, Detroit could get a tie, and then the Cosmos could lose a game, and they could find a way to get ahead of them then. But the Cosmos need a win. The Cosmos don't get a win, it's going to be a lot harder for them to win the division. So if you're a Detroit City FC fan, you should be looking for the Cosmos to come out hard, a lot harder than they did in the home game, because they really need to win. Their owner is very much fighting for the life of them trying to stay in a league. So they want to show they can win wherever they go.
So what do you expect from the game? This is going to be played, on hostile away turf, obviously in New York. Hard-fought match.
Yeah, I expect the 5 Points, who are the New York Cosmos version of Northern Guard. I expect them to come out, be loud. But Detroit's humming. Like, I know the Cosmos are playing great, but Detroit's playing probably the best stretch they've played in a very, very, very long time. That includes playing professional teams in scrimmages or professional teams in friendlies and holding their own against them. I think Detroit guts out a 2-1 victory.
So you mentioned that Detroit City FC could, if they emerge from New York with a tie, they still could find a path forward. Are there any other scenarios? Like if they lose, is it pretty much hopeless for them?
If they lose, it's basically over. They would need the Cosmos to lose more than one game, the remaining games left, and I don't see New York doing that, being as frank as possible.
You expect to see a lot of supporters make the trip to Manhattan or to New York this weekend?
I don't know. I do know they travel really well. I do know they've been looking forward to going to games like when Miami was in the Founders Cup, going to Miami, going all the way out to Napa. They've made trips out there. I would assume they'll travel to New York as well. I'm sure they have a bit of a friendly rivalry with 5 Points, but I'm not certain. New York this time of the year is a little chilly, so if they didn't, I totally would get it.
All right. Well, take care of yourself, Fletcher, and thanks for checking in as always.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All righty, that's going to do it for today's Daily Detroit. If you like what we're doing, think about becoming a member on Patreon. For just a few bucks a month, you can help us push Detroit's conversation forward. With that, I'm Sven Gustafson.
And I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.